Thank you for coming tonight to the Village of Dundee Board of Trustees regular meeting agenda. Here, we're starting out with the public hearing. And could I have a roll call, please?
President Burdine.
Here.
Trustee Polito.
Here.
Trustee Hickey.
Here.
Trustee McClendon.
Here.
Trustee Reeves.
Here.
Trustee Horky.
Here.
Trustee Schroeder.
Here.
Manager Yule.
Here.
Robin?
Ready?
Yes.
Before you tonight is going to be a resolution for Clean Tech. They are building an addition. They are building this north of the railroad, where the railroad spur was, behind their last new plant.
I'll get you.
Yeah, catch up. So they have come to us and asked us for an abatement, which is not an uncommon thing for them to do, or any of the businesses here. They are putting in a $2.7 roughly million facility there, which is over by the, like, I call it the pellet station. I'm not sure what they call it, but
Their new building.
yeah, there.
Yep.
So their current value of that piece of property right there, as we kind of sat and estimated it, is roughly, it's roughly a half an acre, and we figured maybe 10 grand. And of that 10 grand, we get here in the village $98. $2.7 million facility with an IFT will get us roughly $13,244.85. Just to give you an example. They are proposing to add 15 new jobs with this IFT versus none on the vacant piece of property. They currently are amongst 5 other or 6 other businesses here that have existing IFTs. It is one of the ways that we, as the community, can encourage the growth. And I'm pretty excited because environmentally, it doesn't get any better than recycling. And the fact that they're bursting at the seams is a wonderful thing. So part of the public hearing is to allow taxing jurisdictions who will be affected. This is a 12-year from date of completion, 50% abatement. There are longer abatements, and there are zero capture, which we've not ever done and probably will never do. But this is the standard 12-year from completion at 50%. So with that, I'm going to open it up to any taxing jurisdictions or folks that have comments on the IFT itself. And then later in the meeting will be the resolution, and Tim Lake from the EDC will be giving a short presentation with that. Okay?
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Robin.
Is there any comments on the tax abatement itself from the audience? Please, yes.
I'm Denny Nish, 407 Main Street, and I get UPS and RSP, everything mixed up, so the ITF thing, I don't even know what that totally means. But my question is that living on Main Street, there's a tremendous amount of traffic that is going from Main and
Denny,
down.
we can't talk about traffic or any of the other issues. Those come under non-agenda items on our regular agenda. So we're only discussing your pros and cons about a tax abatement.
Okay. Can I ask a question? Is there a negotiation with the vendor as far as on the tax abatement?
No, we don't normally have a negotiation. We either will or we won't. You either will or you won't. Like I said, Chrysler has the IFTs, Aries Engineering has IFT, Axis Engineering has IFTs. I mean, in the industrial world, that's what, and if we don't give it to them, they just move down the road to the next place that will. I mean, they have to look out too, and they're putting money into our community, and we're contributing.
So is this 50% or 0? There's no in between?
No, there's no in between. It's 0 or 50%.
It's like a developer, like Robin's talking about. A developer came in the other day, Thursday, to talk to us, and last week, and the first thing out of their mouth, and Tim will explain this in his presentation, was, before we get started, do you guys participate in tax abatements? If we say no, they get up and walk out and go to another town.
Yeah. Well, my thing is that not against them doing it. Matter of fact, I'm all for, business community, but, I was wondering if there's negotiations to the fact of, like the Stevens trucks have to go around Ty Road when they do their vendor things,
And I think that, as this is just on the abatement, I'll speak to that quickly, but I think during the planning process, when any of these companies come in, we will talk about and traffic in the roads and that sort of thing. I will tell you that in talking to this company over the last year or two, probably 70% of their trucks are already coming in the other way. They're working on the rest of them coming in the other way. I mean, it's a slow process, and we're putting up some additional signs to help move that along as well. But all that would be done in our planning process.
That's in the planning meeting. When the site plan comes, that's when Gary Dahl and we address that with the company and the planning commission.
all right. Because I thought there was, there was a way that could be part of the good neighbor as they agree to this, that would be, a good way for us now to talk about it so they understand what we're thinking rather than, be surprised by it.
And I'm reasonably certain in speaking to them, they're very aware that, Dave has called them numerous times on a variety of issues, and they're very good about attempting. Again, if you have 100 trucking firms, it's hard to get each one, especially if it's a new driver, each one to realize that their GPS isn't always going to take them the other way.
Mhm.
So, it is slowly being worked on, and it will be addressed again when we do site plan.
It's good to hear that part of it then, to do. All right, thank you.
And they've been great neighbors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Larry?
Larry Brossi, 411 Dunham Street, just southwest kitty corner from Clean Tech. I want to know if there's been discussion on what part of this exemption, or whatever you want to call it, what part are we talking about as far as the tax abatement is concerned?
The new $2.7 million addition.
Just that particular
Yes.
building? I looked up PA 198, and I see there's a whole list. And so we're only taking that one portion of it? The rest is all going to stay the same?
The rest
Is that
stays,
right?
The rest stays as it is now, and the 50% abatement for 12 years is on the new construction.
On just the new
Yes.
construction?
Yes.
Well, my feeling is no. Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
I'm Patricia O'Brien. I'm at 352 Dunham Street. And my question is, I know this is supposed to be only about the abatement, but when the time comes that Dunham Street has to be repaired or repaved, is Clean Tech going to pay for that? Is this tax abatement in any way going to relieve them of that?
No, it is not. Just like we just did McBride, all the residents got assessed.
Okay,
They will be part
but
of
they
the
don't
assessment.
have any frontage from Maine to McBride. Does that mean they're not going to pay anything
No,
for that?
They'll be assessed like everybody else on the street.
Everybody else on the street combined doesn't do 10% of the damage that Clean Tech does. And I highly doubt that 70% of their trucks are coming from the other way. I don't think half of them do. So you've got to do something to make sure those trucks just stay off the road.
Like we just said, we'll address that in the planning, site plan review.
Okay, I guess that's all.
Is there any other questions? Is there any other questions? Hearing none and seeing none, I close the public hearing. Now we'll start the regular. All right, I call the regular meeting to order. Could I have the roll call, please?
President Bodine?
Here.
Trustee Polito?
Here.
Trustee Hickey?
Here.
Trustee McClendon?
Here.
Trustee Reeves?
Here.
Trustee Horky?
Here.
Trustee Schroeder.
Here.
Manager Ewell?
Here.
Would everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Schroeder and seconded by Trustee Horty that we approve tonight's agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Do I have is somebody going to entertain a motion tonight for approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, September 3rd, 2019? Motion would be in order to approve the minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of September 3rd, 2019.
Second.
It's a motion by Trustee McClendon and seconded by Trustee Hickey to approve the September 3rd minutes. September, is this 3rd?
Excuse me, please.
September 3rd minutes, 2019. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have petitions and communications, 6A. Shirley, would you please read the petitions and communications?
Public comments are provided at both the beginning and at the end of the board meeting. The purpose of the public comments is to provide an opportunity for members of the public to speak. The role of the board is to listen attentively, and we thank you in advance for sharing your thoughts and ideas. All members of the public that speak during public comment will need to state their name. We have designated up to 4 minutes per person for each topic presented. The board's role is to listen to the care and concerns of the community. The manager or designee will follow up concerning the comments as soon as possible. Please contact the manager's office if you have any additional questions.
Is there any citizens' comments for agenda items on tonight's agenda? Larry?
Is this possible now that we talk about the agenda item, which is the tax abatement?
No.
No.
No,
That's
I
not
can't.
right. No.
We have to wait till,
Pardon?
you have to wait till we get to new business.
You can talk on this.
Well, you can talk on,
Larry, you can talk on the tax abatement, like we
Yes.
talked the other day when you asked me. You can talk about the tax abatement now, but if you want to talk about anything else, roads or trucks, that's in the last public comment part.
That's
That's
the last
towards the
part
end of the meeting.
We're gonna review.
Yes.
And all we're talking about now,
All you can talk about now is the tax abatement.
clarify to me what an abatement is and a tax exemption. Can you tell me that?
This is like Shirley just read, this is for public comment.
So there's no explanation, the difference between
Not.
nobody
Fred,
knows or you can't do it? What is it?
Fred, could you explain this?
On abatement, the question
Thank
was
you.
the difference
Yeah.
between an abatement and.
Right.
And,
And an exemption.
okay, an exemption is that you're not paying taxes. This is not an exemption, this is an abatement. In other words, what this does is it reduces their taxes essentially by 50% for a period of 12 years. I'm sorry, for a period of 12 years. That's what it does. In other words, we're not giving them any money that we have. In other words, it's not like this is, the village is writing anybody a check. The village is writing nobody a check. None of the municipalities, none of the organizations is writing anybody a check. What this is saying is in exchange for them building this facility within our village, we are not going to charge them the full amount. And really, the entities that will be most affected by this really is not the village, even though the village stands to make substantially more money from this than it would otherwise with bare land. The schools, which really are always the ones that get the most money from any taxing, local taxing, will have the greatest impact. But again, then they also stand to make money from that. So an abatement is not an exemption from taxes. They still pay taxes. It's just on the portion that is the new portion. They have a reduction in the amount of taxes on that portion only. They continue to pay taxes on the old property just as they were before. That clear?
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you. And who was that?
That was Fred Lucas, our village attorney.
Okay, and what's his name?
Fred Lucas.
France Lucas?
Fred.
Fred?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Is there any other public comments? Hearing none and seeing none, we'll go to the consent agenda.
I move that we accept the petitions and communications and
Thank you.
place them on file.
Thank you.
A
Second.
second.
It's been moved by trustee Hickey and supported by trustee Horky that we approve the petitions and communications and place on file. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we go to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village council and will be enacted by one motion. So, do I have a motion to accept tonight's consent agenda A, request to use the community center free of charge for the American Red Cross Blood Drive, November 17, 2019, from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and B, payment of bills of $464,441.54. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Polito and seconded by trustee Reeves to accept tonight's consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please, I'm sorry. Roll call, please.
It was moved by trustee Polito and supported by trustee Reeves to accept the consent agenda as presented and placed on file. Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder,
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
President Benign?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Now we go to new business. 8A, ordinance number 02-2019, an ordinance for prohibition of marijuana establishments. Is there a motion to accept the ordinance number?
Well, I think we need to table it until we get more information
Fred's
on.
coming forward.
Let me, if I may comment on this. This ordinance relates to recreational marijuana, okay? It does not relate to medical marijuana, if it's the ordinance I'm familiar with. And I have no, obviously the council can do whatever it chooses to do on this, but let me just point one thing out. Under the law, that if we do not take action within a year, and I think it's coming up November will be the deadline, we need to, if we're going to take any action, it needs to be before that time. Now, you may at some point later on redo and repeal this ordinance if you decide that you do want to look into it. The only reason I am making a recommendation that you adopt this at this time is, number one, because of the time concerns, and number two, because I'm still don't think anybody really knows what the impact of all this is yet. I'm not sure that anybody really knows how recreational marijuana is going to be treated and how it's going to be dealt with by the state. As it relates to recreational marijuana, the only thing I would say to you is, again, if you fail to adopt a prohibition at this time, you may be running up, that at some point you may not have any control, because the law says that we have to enact the prohibition prior to 1 year following the referendum. So that would be the only thing I'd say to you. Again, this does not say that you can never revisit this topic. It's certainly not something that you can do. But my concern is that if you don't take action, the genie may be out of the bottle relative to this, and you may have a different position later on relative to where you can be on this stuff. So,
What would be some of the problems that
well,
we'd
the
have?
problems number one is I don't know how much control you'd have over the location and placement of such facilities within the village. I mean, that's number one. I know that the state has control right now, but that's my main concern is what is the degree of control and where will these facilities be located within the village. I think it needs to be, if we're going to look at that, I think it needs to be looked at by the Planning Commission and have the Planning Commission review this and come back and make recommendations with regards to those issues. Again, this does not relate to medical marijuana. It relates only to recreational. Because remember, the difference between recreational and medical marijuana is you are under if you do nothing with medical marijuana, you're treated as if you have rejected it. You don't allow it. If you do nothing as it relates to recreational marijuana, you are in effect given your permission for it to be located within your community. And again, I'm not passing judgment on whether it should be here or not. I'm really not making that statement. I'm merely indicating to you that, from my perspective, this is enough of a subject that warrants greater study and greater thought than what's been given to it up to this point relative to where it would go in the community and where it would be. And if we fail to act within the time permitted, we may not have that opportunity. I hope that answers your question.
Is there any other questions for Mr. Lucas?
So then, Morenci, the other village or city that you are also representing, I imagine they have chosen also to opt out of the recreation then as well?
Correct. They do have medical marijuana facilities within their community. But they have elected at this point to opt out of the recreational, at least until we have a better handle on it. That's all it really boils down, because any of these ordinances can be repealed at some point in the future. You look concerned.
Nope.
No.
No. No, I feel I've read a lot about this. I actually would move to adopt ordinance 02-2019.
If I've already tabled it, it can't be adopted. It's got to be tabled.
You can't table it by yourself.
Right.
It has to be a motion made and seconded.
Yeah.
I second the
I
motion
just think we're
made by
losing a lot of
trustee
taxes.
Hickey.
No, and if I may speak to this motion, I'm not saying that we should never have recreational marijuana establishments. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, in all of my research that I've done, they originally were going to start licensing facilities beginning September. They've already pushed that back to November. So the first license, as of right now, which may be pushed back again, can't even come out until November, which means nobody in the state of Michigan actually knows how any of these facilities are going to function, and we're not going to know that for probably 2 years. And because of that, sunsetting it just says, we're not ready, we need more information.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this ordinance says. It doesn't say, no, we'll never accept it. What it says is, we need more time to get the facts. Because if we don't opt out of it and we neglect to do this, then it allows it on January 1st, 2020. So I'm just saying, we don't have the information. The state of Michigan doesn't have the information. And we need to do our due diligence and get that information.
Yeah, it keeps us in the
That's what I've
driver's
been
seat.
saying all along, when we haven't done our due diligence at all.
The recommendations just came
Even-
out
even-
from MML in July. Like, they didn't even report anything till July. The problem is timing. It's not.
These
it's-
other municipalities have done the same thing by passing this, and like Mr. Lucas said, we can come back at a later date and change it. It'd be a safe, probably, to accept the motion as read and seconded, and we're having discussion now, but it's up to the council's pleasure what you guys want to do.
Well, it's been moved and seconded. I think we're at a point where we're voting now, after discussion.
Moved and seconded.
You have to-
We're having discussion right now. Does anybody, Jordan or Elena, you want to speak up on it?
No, it just, like I said before, it just keeps us in the driver's seat until we can get more information, and we can overturn it if we and the public see fit. So it makes sense to adopt it from a protection standpoint.
Elena, you
Same.
say? Brian?
I agree with everything Ms. Ms. Hickey said. My thing is I work in the school, so I work with the teenagers in the community, probably more so than anyone else. I can tell you, access to that kind of stuff is not a good thing. I understand adults can make adult decisions, but some of our teenagers are not ready to make those decisions if it's easily accessible to them, whether they're of age or not. So I definitely want to approve this, and then as later on, when we can see how it's worked in other communities, then we can revisit it. But I think until we see and have a track record of some data of how this is going in other communities, I think the only safe way to go is to approve this.
Denny, what do you have to say about it?
Agreed, call the question.
Okay,
Okay.
please, roll call, please.
It was moved by trustee Hickey, supported by trustee Schroeder, to adopt ordinance 02-2019, an ordinance for prohibiting prohibition of marijuana establishments. Trustee McClendon?
Nope.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Harkey?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
President Burdine?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Now we come to new business, item B, resolution number 2019-20, a resolution to adopt a local pavement warranty program. This would be this resolution requires each local road agency under PA of 2015 to adopt a local pavement warrant program acceptable to the Michigan Department of Transportation. Warranties have the potential to improve the quality of road projects, benefiting the drivers, taxpayers, and road agencies of Michigan. The intent of the warranty program is to provide a program that all local agencies can use for all hot mix asphalt and plain jointed concrete paving projects on public roads and streets. This program is only for federally funded projects of $2 million plus in cost. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution 2019-20?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2019-20.
Second.
It's been motioned by Trustee Polito and seconded by Trustee McClendon to accept resolution 2019-20. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none and seeing none, roll call, please.
It was moved by trustee Polito and supported by trustee McClendon to adopt resolution 2019-20, a resolution to adopt a local pavement warranty program. Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
President Bodine?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
New business, item C. Resolution number 2019-21, a resolution to implement a local pavement warranty program. This resolution requires each local road agency under PA of 215 to adopt a local pavement warranty program acceptable to the Michigan Department of Transportation. Warranties have the potential to improve the quality of road projects, benefiting the drivers, taxpayers, and road agencies of Michigan. The intent of this warranty program is to provide a program that all local agencies can use for all hot mix asphalt and plain jointed concrete paving projects on public roads and streets. This program is only for federally funded projects of $2 million plus in cost. Is there a motion to accept resolution number 2019-21?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept resolution number 2019-21.
Second.
The motion's been made by trustee Polito and seconded by trustee Horky to accept resolution -219-21. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none and seeing none, roll call, please.
It was moved by trustee Polito and supported by trustee Horky to adopt resolution 2019-21, a resolution to implement a local pavement warranty. Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
President Bodine?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Now we go to new business. Item D, resolution number 2019-22, a resolution approving application of Clean Tech Incorporation for tax abatement request. Is there a motion to accept the resolution number 2019-22 to accept the resolution approving the Clean Tech?
So moved. I'll second.
Motion's been made by trustee Schroeder and seconded by trustee Polito. Is there any discussion on the motion? This resolution is for approving the application of a tax abatement requested by Clean Tech. The request is for 50% abatement of approximately $2.7 million for 12 years. Mr. Lake, would you please explain this?
Yeah, Tim Lake with Monroe County BDC. We provide some economic development services for the village of Dundee. But just to give you a little bit of history, this act was enacted in 1974 by the state of Michigan, Public Act 198. It's been used effectively, I know, in Monroe County now since that time. It's been used effectively in the village of Dundee during that time frame also. I did a rough check on the state's website. You've had 17 of these abatements that you've granted over the years. And being able to see all of the communities within Monroe County, I'd say you've been very, very successful with that. Clean Tech itself, obviously we know it's a great 30-year-old green type company. They've used the tool effectively. You've kept them here and not hopping around. So it continues to work well in your favor by granting the abatements. It was mentioned earlier that the tax that you will be collecting, again, is all the taxes for all the ad valorem taxing jurisdictions throughout the whole county of Monroe, and those folks had the opportunity to speak for or against it during your public meeting portion of the program tonight. My point is that these tools work because, again, you're going to collect 50% of something, as opposed to if the development doesn't happen, or worse yet, it ends up moving the whole company out to another community. We're in a very, very competitive nature. Our neighbors to the south in the state of Ohio actually don't have a property tax. They have industrial exemptions almost automatically. So we're up against that competitive nature all the time when we're quoting these things. So a bit of a misconception I want to make sure we're clear on is that schools in the state of Michigan are held harmless in all this. So schools do not get any reduction. The foundation allowance still continues to be the same. And the goal here with this company adding 15 new employees and 130 some employees that are existing, as you gain residents, hopefully they're buying houses, paying taxes, and adding kids to the school system. So that's why the system works, is because it creates an economic impact for the whole community. So just doing some rough numbers, the existing payroll that the company is paying today that goes into your community is $6.8 million on an annual basis. Now these are rough numbers, okay, so don't hold me to this stuff exactly, but in that general vicinity, 15 new employees would be an additional $750,000 annually. In addition to that, Monroe County's multiplier for jobs such as these that will be created is about 0.7 to every job created. So you'll get another 3/4 of a person or 3/4 of a job that'll spin off from these jobs that are added. So that's, if you look, is do the math, is another 105 jobs in the surrounding area that will be created from restaurants, car dealers, insurance, and those type of things. So it does have a great economic impact and a great story to tell. I will answer any questions that you might have as you deliberate if you choose.
What's the council's pleasure here? Do you have any questions for Mr. Lake?
Thank you, Tim.
These,
We appreciate that explanation.
Sure.
Thank
so
you.
Thank you.
These 15 jobs will relate into 100 and some, you said?
No, the total number with the 130 some that they currently have, if you add those and then the 15 new, that would be, they have a multiplier effect of 150 or 105 other jobs. So remember, when these programs come in, when a company does something like this, they have a program. There's a reason they're adding and spending capital that they could spend anywhere in their system, okay? The reason they want to spend it here is they have new business that supports that. Sometimes when that business is lost or it doesn't happen in your community, it also involves existing workforce that could be lost, okay? So we need to create, we need to add more people on this line. But if we don't have the addition of that line, we're going to wipe out the whole thing. We can't economically do it. So we'll take a line out, we'll lay off 50 people or so. I'm just hypothetical.
Just hypothetical, if they would add on, could they add on in the industrial complex of Dundee, put a building there for their add-on? There's a lot of factories that have a separate building.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I don't think that he can predict the growth out in the industrial complex, Tim.
Just throwing out the question, hypothetical.
I don't think Mr. Lake is here to make predictions about who's going to develop in the industrial complex.
Okay. It's up to council's pleasure.
It should be noted, too, that your agreement to this is secured by an agreement between the village and the company itself in a written agreement. So there is some performance measures that will be included at the, with a agreement between the two parties, so.
Thank you. Is
Thank
there
you.
any more questions?
Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Is there a motion to,
We already have a motion.
we already have the motion? A roll call, please.
It was moved by trustee Schroeder and supported by trustee Polito to adopt resolution 2019-22, a resolution approving application of Clean Tech Incorporated tax abatement request. Trustee Schroeder,
Yes.
trustee Polito.
Yes.
Trustee Hickey,
Yes.
trustee McClendon,
Yes.
trustee Reeves,
Yes.
trustee Horky,
Yes.
President Bedine.
No.
Motion's carried.
All right, now we go to, there's no old business, so we go to upcoming training opportunities. Dave, would you like to add on anything about the training opportunities?
No, that's just listed, our usual listed training.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
And now we have village manager comments.
Thank you. Let me find them here. Mr. Lizette, did you have anything from the, I think you do, from the township, we talked earlier.
Gary Lizette, Dixon Road, Dundee Township trustee. We had an incident on Meanwell Road this afternoon where a utility bored through the main water line on Meanwell Road. The water has been turned off. An announcement went out to the residents in that area. And as any new information becomes available, I will send out another message giving the residents of that area what the status is.
May I ask a question here? Was that the gas line that was going in on Meanwell Road?
From what I understand, yes.
Okay.
The gas lines are already in on Meanwell Road. This was a separate bore up to a house.
Correct, yeah, it was a
Yes,
tap.
a tap.
It was a tap, and so they tapped into the water by mistake.
Yeah.
The other item, I'm going to have to resurrect this, but in the past, I have had communications with Senator Zorn, Representative Shepherd, regarding a interchange that I think needs to be constructed on Milwaukee Road in 23. We've got an armory coming, potentially. We've got Clean Tech, and I understand all the issues about the truck traffic out there. If we could get an interchange out there and direct all the trucks in that direction, I think it would alleviate a lot of issues, not only Clean Tech, but any trucks coming off of 23 and get off on the ramp, the northbound ramp at M50. You get two semis there, you've got gridlock. And if we could ban the trucks, unless they're local deliveries, ban the trucks from exiting there and going further north to Milwaukee Road and coming back down, I think would greatly alleviate the problem. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
I noticed when the trucks do come down M50 from 23, there's only 2 trucks that can get through on a green light. And it's creating a problem.
The block party we just had in the green space was another success, a good turnout, even though it was drizzling and not the best weather in the world. Our final one will be on October 8th in the same location. McBride Street is finishing up with restoration. The contractors did a fantastic job there. We received today the site plan for Big Burger. So Gary Dahl will be getting started with that probably tomorrow. The pads are in for our art that the DDA has been working on, and I called the cement contractor today, and he said on Monday they can start installing the art. So they're working with Ron Phillips to get help with that. Cabela curb replacement has been started, and we do not have a date to do the mill and fill on Cabela West yet. But we are on their schedule, but they are not indicating when they might get to that. Grilling and chilling that we just had 90-plus people show up for that, so that was excellent. Gary was sweating over the grill. Pumpkin Palooza is on October 5th at 8 a.m. Don't forget about that in the municipal lot. The RSA, the road safety audit, is completed by Manick and Smith and SEMCOG, and we've gotten several updates with it, but we'll get a completed study here within the next couple weeks, and we will be sharing that. I'm going to ask Manick and Smith come and make a report to the village on the different findings with MDOT. And that's all I have.
Is there any questions for Mr. Yule? I have one. Could you reiterate where the art is going to be? I've noticed a couple of cement things around town.
Oh boy, let me see if I can remember all the spots. One back here by the fish, the boat launch where the canoes go in behind the village here. The other one is in the cement right by the river, by the fishing spot. Another one in the triangle. One in front of the library, and one downtown in the gazebo, and one right out here in the green space.
Okay.
Those are all the spots, right?
Nice job.
Thank you.
I should have had you answer. You're on the committee.
Mr. Huffman, do you have anything to say tonight, our county commissioner?
Thank you for offering. We are working on the pager problem. I was just brought up in a meeting if there's a problem with the pagers and the system. So we talked about that at the meeting together.
Okay, thank
We're
you.
on that to get that corrected.
Could everybody hear him?
No.
No, could you come up front so everybody can hear you? Thank you.
Sorry. Dave Huffman, your county commissioner. We discussed today the problem that they're having with the pagers over at the fire department again. We're having them and they're having them out there in Whiteford. So we're on it and going to try to get it corrected. Something to do with the towers.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 12, council member comments. Mike, I'll start with you tonight.
I have nothing really. I was just, the only thing I was reiterating about the recreational marijuana, and I wanted to make sure that it was talked about, that it was just the recreational marijuana. Because there are taxes and stuff that we're gonna be missing out on when it does come around. I'm not so worried about that. What I'm worried about is the medical marijuana and also the taxes that we're losing from that we've already been lost for the past 3.5 years, 4 years, just from refusing to have a grow facility outside of the village. The taxes and the money that we've lost off of that. So I just want the public to be aware of when it comes time for it, that all these bonds that we have to secure, all this money that we have to keep asking you for, some of this money can be paid for, as Mr. Lucas, or yes, can talk about also, as Morenci has done. They've paid their police department, their fire department, they've built roads, they've secured three $300,000 bonds that they will net $30,000 profit off each bond over 3 years. So I think there's a lot of money and taxes for us to gather off of this as well. We don't have to have it in the village, and I understand totally about what Mr. Schroeder's saying, because I myself am on the Monroe County Opioid Task Force. So I do understand what's going on about that kind of stuff also. I'm not saying I want to flood the market with it, flood our community with it, because I don't. I care about our community and our children and everyone else just as well. But if it's going to be around us and it's going to be sold around us, why shouldn't we reap the benefits? And we're still going to have to worry about our children going to Petersburg to get it, our children going to Ann Arbor to get it, going to where else to get it. if we're gonna have to put up with all that, then we need to reap some of the benefits ourselves. And there's a lot of money, taxes, that can come back to us that we don't have to keep forking out ourselves for roads and the like. So I just want that put out there so that the public has a chance to think about it and figure out too whether they want it, not just us, and we make the decisions what you want, because we're here for you, not us.
Brian, you're next.
I just want to say, next week, we're really excited. It's homecoming week, and I know it's inconvenience for the people in the community. We're going to have the parade next Friday, 5 o'clock, so it'll be shut down for about 25, 30 minutes, but come on out. It's a great thing. It's our kids. We're putting them and showcasing them and letting them know how great they are, and it's always great to see a lot of the community out there. So please continue to support that. It's great as we have these kids have this great experience that they'll remember for the rest of their life. So thank you.
Who are they playing?
Homecoming is Blissfield.
Blissfield, okay.
This weekend, we're going to have a packed community. We're playing Ida at home on Friday night. So again, come on out. It's a great experience at the game.
Thank you. Denny, you're next.
I want to thank everybody that came out tonight. I know you're passionate about this issue with clean tech, and I know we're going to hear from you real soon here, but thank you. You came out, and you're good people. So I also want to say that there are 3 farmers markets left. If you haven't had a chance to get out, they finally got some vegetables in there, and it was really a good market last weekend, and it didn't rain. So please, 3 more left. Try to get out there. And reiterating Pumpkin Palooza, it's going to be bigger and better this year. We've got both lots are going to be blocked off, and we're going to be doing in this municipal lot here, we're going to be doing kind of a vintage market and food fair. So mark it on your calendars. Thank you.
Jordan,
Nothing tonight.
you sure?
I said it, yeah.
It's your last chance.
That's all you get.
Okay. Elena?
I want to give Shirley some credit for the Smithsonian event, the event that we had, the grand opening of it. That was really nice. I'm looking forward to my first volunteering there this Saturday. So if you guys are interested, come see me. I'll be working noon to 2:30.
Is that all?
That's it.
Very good.
Just a reminder, if you're not into football, on this Friday, when Ida's going to be playing Dundee at home, if that's not your thing, come on out to the movie in the park. The museum is open until 8 o'clock on Fridays, so the movie starts about 8:30. Come out early. Come check out the museum. That's what we did last Friday, my son and my husband and I, and it is impressive. The Smithsonian exhibit, it really hits home, us being from a rural community. So go on out, check it out like we did, and then stay for the movie. It's going to be Back to the Future, so it's kind of a fan favorite. We did receive an update on our Parks and Rec master plan from Mannequin Smith. We went over the results of the survey and what people are interested in seeing in our different parks. So that went well, so we're moving forward in that process. And I just also want to mention that if you have not gotten a haircut recently, go out to Viking Barbershop. This week they're celebrating 35 years in this community, and I think that that's something to be commended. Sherry's always done a good job up there, and to have a business in the community for 35 years is pretty impressive. So go get your haircuts and get entered to that grand prize drawing that she's doing.
Thank you. Shirley, would you like to say something about the Smithsonian and the Old Mill?
Well, I've had good announcements from 2 of our council people. The Smithsonian Traveling Exhibit, if you haven't been up to see it yet, please come up and see it. You're going to be duly impressed. It's the 3rd one we've had, and it is the best exhibit we've had from Washington so far. We've had large numbers of turnouts. We've also had forums and seminars on Sundays, and we've had nice turnouts for those. People have been very impressed with the seminars. Our first one was a governmental one. Mr. Lake, Joanna Ewell, and Dave went and came up and talked about government, how we interacted, what we're looking for in the future for our communities. Our second one we had, in fact, we had 2 back-to-back last weekend. It was The first on Saturday was Cities of Dead, which sounds gross, but it wasn't. It was a history of cemeteries and what symbols and so forth in cemeteries are. It was very interesting. I wasn't sure, but it was interesting. Then we had Farming in the Future. That one there was so enlightening to me, who is a non-farmer. I was just so impressed with how much farming entails not only out in the land, but all the job opportunities that spin off from farming. It was unbelievable. So we do have some more seminars coming up. The next one was Sunday, which is going to be the history of church, the stories of our local churches, and special music. We're also having the robotics team from the school the following week, and also the week after that, we are having the school is coming over with their jazz band, and we're having solos from the school choirs. So we have a lot of activities going on. Plus, one of the very big popular things that surprised us was we have a tour bus that toured the village of Dundee, and we went from the past to the present, and we had 3 bus trips on the first week in the Smithsonian, and we had to turn people away because people really enjoyed it. And so if you want to come out, really see what your village looks like from top to bottom, please come out Saturday, because it's 12:30, 2 o'clock, and 3:30. So, and it's been doing great, and thank you to the public for coming out so far. That's it.
Hey, Ken?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I just
Mike.
want to add something that Shirley said. 2 Fridays ago, when we first opened up, we had like 200 and some odd people by, it was like 2 o'clock, Shirley? And then as of last Friday, there was, what, close to 400 total?
Yes.
And like Shirley said, when they'd get off the bus and they'd come through the mill and start talking to us, everyone was telling us how well that the people that gave the tour was amazed at what they could tell everybody, that even people that lived here for a long time was getting off telling us, I never knew this or that, you know, and so it was really nice. It was really good.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to learn about your community.
We got people that came from Colorado, came from Tennessee, there was one other place, North Carolina. So
I get many comments when I'm walking through town of how beautiful the town looks from all over the place in the United States, and I'm very proud of our town. And I too, Hazelina, will be working Saturday on the bus tour and other things. And I'm looking forward to see a lot of the local residents and other residents too. I do have one question. Denny, maybe you can answer this. The Corvette show, why was it canceled? 20 Corvette.
Dave, you want to jump on that, or you?
Lack of participants.
Lack of participants.
20 Corvettes is pretty good because you only see 3 or 4 at a
How many
new
were?
car.
How many were?
We had 3 registered.
3 registered.
I read 20 in the paper then.
Yeah, that was kind
Misprint?
of, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. And then I'd like to thank the DPW workers, and I'm asking the citizens for help when the fall of the year, when we have all the leaves and everything, and they get plugged up, just unplug the sewers a little bit, and it'll help the grass and leaves, it'll help our DPW and keep everything flowing smoothly. And then a business owner stated that he may be looking into legal actions against Chief Garbo and Manager Yule for having Officer Randy Sell take down a protest sign that has been on his property for approximately 3 years. The owner of Tom's Body Shop has had the land surveyed by David Arthur Consultants and Surveyors, and he had it certified, and it is clearly showing that the sign was at least 10 to 12 foot on his property and not the village property. This is the first time, I believe, that it's been certified by the records at the Monroe County Courthouse. And Mr. David Arthur, the group there, they went down there and they couldn't find anything until this time here, and then now it's legally certified. And,
Tim, I have to interrupt you. I have to ask a question.
no, you're out of order here.
No, I'm not
Yes,
out of
yes,
order.
you are out of
Your
order.
entire
This
comment is out
This
of
is my
order.
comment from the business
Have you
owner. You are out of order.
No,
Mr.
you are
Short.
out of order,
No,
and
you
I'm
are.
professional, and I've had
This
enough
is
of
a
this.
village president comment. Now, the people of Dundee put me up here for a reason.
And I'm trying to
gonna-
figure that
and-
out still.
And you're trying to do it, you're out of order. Now,
You're out
please
of
let me
order.
read this without any interruptions, please. This sign was at least 10 to 12 foot on his property, not the village property. This is the first time the property has been certified by the records at the Monroe County Courthouse. He claims that he should have been sent a letter rather than just be intimidated by the police action. Mr. Batianis was assured by the past consul, 1 or 2 consuls ago, the members wouldn't mess with his property or take it or change it. And now we've had the road closed, and he's very upset with Manager Yule and Chief Garbo for just standing by and having no notification by a letter or anything. They just went on his property and took it. And if we allow this to happen, who knows what's going to happen in the future. And he feels that they both have gone rogue. And he feels his speech, and he's been a business owner for 38 to 40 years, he feels his freedom of speech and amendment rights have been violated. And he's waiting for a call from his attorney to see if he should proceed. And he believes that maybe the village may use adverse possession, which means they've cleaned the snow removal and stuff, but everybody's that's lived here a long time knows that he's done it in the past. And I feel the next thing, they may take Uncle Lyle's tavern furniture and claim that that's village property. And I just don't, I have to go on the side of the business owner here. So then also, you might have read in the paper about Mr. Tim Moore and myself. We tried to get a post office drop box out at Politico. And they're saying that, a couple people are saying that we didn't talk to the owners and stuff. And we were doing our best. We weren't even at the closing stages yet, and we got shot down. So I would just like to play this message from
Tim,
Tim.
this is completely out of order.
ridiculous.
This is
Stop.
not
Well,
the time.
I'm going to keep going.
No, this is
No.
not your
No.
personal agenda and your
You're
personal
right, it
attacks
isn't.
of people.
Yeah.
You need to get in order, and we need to
And
get
we
the
are.
meeting back on track.
I'm going to play this here.
Seriously, you need to stop. This is completely out of order. If you have
No, it's
things like
not.
this, you have
You're
to
out
make,
of control.
you have to make an
Knock
agreement
it off.
with
You
Dave.
guys
and
are out
come-
of order.
Take that thing away from
Fred,
him.
what can we do here?
This is just my
No,
comments
Tim,
here.
stop. Please
That's
listen,
not
Fred.
comments.
It surely
It
is.
surely isn't.
Tim, shut it off.
The opportunity for council members to give comments about matters relating to the village is important opportunity and should not be abridged at this time. In terms of playing comments from other individuals, I'm not sure that that would qualify as the other comments that Mr. Bodine made those are his rights to make those comments regarding his feelings about the village. That's his right to make those comments. But as far as playing recordings from other individuals, I think that goes beyond his comments regarding matters. Again, as I said, that just relates to the playing of the tape. I have no.
Gotcha.
I'm not
This
going to
is-
say anything relative to your other comments. Those are your comments.
Just want to thank you very much. Now we'll go to citizens' comments. Is there any citizens' comments tonight? Larry?
Thank you for allowing me to stand before you and speak my mind. I look around, I see, please limit to 4 minutes per person. Well, Jesus, there's 20 here. I might be able to be here for an hour and a half.
We can
Mr.
be here.
Brasi,
minutes per
excuse me just a
person?
minute. Mr. Brasi, can I,
No?
no.
Okay.
But if each person comes forward and talks about the same item and repeats it, then we don't have to listen to that. If you
Okay.
have a spokesperson that wants to talk on the same topic, the same issue, then that person can come forward.
Is there an issue, Shirley, that I need to address?
There's just, if you have an issue, yes, but not if
I
everyone in
will
the room
do that right
repeats
now.
the same thing.
Thank you. You've
Thank
taken
you.
up some of my 4 minutes.
Okay,
You can have my 4 minutes.
good.
Yeah, mine too.
There.
Good.
Thank
Got
you.
it. He's your spokesman.
You know, it amazes me when I look over you guys and you answer the questions about the tax abatement on Clean Tech. Well, I happen to live right across from Clean Tech, as I said, about pretty close. We've had a lot of discussions with Clean Tech over the years. I don't know if you're familiar with Clean Tech. How many of you have actually been over there and seen what's going on? Shirley has. Thank you, Shirley and Tim.
I live
Okay.
2 doors down from you, so I'm familiar with the
Okay.
area.
Okay, then that's good, because you might understand what I'm trying to say. What have they done for the community? Can anybody tell me what they've really done for the community?
We're just here to listen to you, Larry.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. You know, we've had companies in the past, Dundee Cement and so forth, that's done other things for the community, rather than just ask for forgiveness and tax abatement. How much thought has been done by the board members? Given this, where are you when the traffic comes through? Where are you when the smell comes through? Where are you when the noise comes through? Now, I don't need this. Everybody can hear me pretty damn good. But you know, Clean Tech evidently don't hear very well. And I'm tired of it. And I want you people to know that. And I want you people to go down to our neighborhood. When you give these people tax abatements, how many went down to our neighborhood and asked them how well they deserve it? You know, one of the things that the one gentleman said was, Jesus, if they don't get it, they could move to Ohio. Boy, that would be beautiful. That would be the greatest thing in the world for them to move out. I'm tired. I am tired of the smell. I've worked the football games over there for 38 years on the sideline. 38 years. And I've stood there on the sidelines and heard the people from visiting schools say, my gosh, what is that smell? When there's an east wind, Clean Tech is there. That's who's there. That's where the smell comes from. I've gone to the state of Michigan. Zach Durham would love to hear from you guys. He happens to be the environmental quality analysis. And he will come down and listen to you. He tells me that the state of Michigan says in the law that if I cannot work out in my yard and enjoy it without getting a sore throat, without getting chest soreness from the smell from that outfit, They don't deserve to be there. And he wants to know. He told me 5 citations in the state will shut him down. Well, by God, I need your help now. I was told this morning when I called over there about the noise. They've got a boiler over there that's pounding away, and this isn't the first year it's done it. We straightened it up last year. He tells me that it's because of the air pressure and the gas mixture that goes into that boiler. Do you know, and I know, I've seen it, what would happen to a boiler if that boiler blew up because the combination isn't correct? The reasons for that plant would be gone, and probably my house and most of the neighborhood. I don't know how large that boiler is, but I do know that it strikes one hell of a explosion if it goes. I've seen that. I know that. As far as the smell, I've asked what the chemical, what's in the air. What is in the air that causes that? I've worked out there. I know it causes a sore throat. And I know my neighbors complained about the same thing. I don't like to call at 3:30 in the morning that I did the other day and tell them about that darn noise. It sounds like a locomotive constantly all night long. Well, we're looking into it. That's the boiler, and we're looking into it. Well, by God, we've looked into it for years. And the smell, we've looked into that for many, many years. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that sort of thing. I don't know. I wish you would. I wish you would go down. When you make these decisions about clean tech and giving them breaks, I wish you'd go to the neighborhood and ask the residents, not just on Dunham Street, ask on Big Bride, down at the Vets Club down there, which I'm an active member of there. Sometimes the people are asking, what is that smell? Is that a gas leak? Have we got a gas leak down here? What is that rotten smell? Well, you go outside and it's clean tech. Do you know what clean tech is? Do you know if they care about the community? Are they just asking for things, or are they giving too? I don't know. Tell me about how many employees they've got. I see them drive by my house all the time. I see the trucks all the time. I see the traffic congestion. The kids out in the playground, playing out in the playground out there, and you got this stench coming across the field. Is it healthy? I don't think it is. I've had a number of neighbors down there, and my wife died of cancer. I don't know if it's bad or not. I don't know what's causing. Environment causes, so they say, a lot of these illnesses. We've had 2 cases of some sort of virus in the neighborhood. We don't know what that is either. Is that coming from that? I don't know. That's not my position. And the people behind me, they also are concerned with it. And I think that the village, you people representing us, ought to take a darn good look and think real serious. I understand that The Planning Commission hasn't approved, has not approved the building over here yet. I understand that. I don't know. That's just what I understand right now. And they're the ones that's going to approve it or disapprove it. Well, I don't know if any of you people are on the Planning Commission or know anybody on the Planning Commission. I do, and I will be working with those people in the next couple of weeks, because I think it ought to be denied. I was told this morning, because it's industrial property, they're industrial, not residential, they can do what they want to do. If they want to build more, they can build more. They got the choice, not you. Tell me about that. Tell me why we're even here talking about it. That place, you know, and I've never done this before. I've never said that I think they ought to leave town, but I think it's damn time they leave town. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
There was a young lady in the back. I believe you had your hand raised.
Yeah.
She defaulted her minutes to clear.
Please come up to the front. Thank you.
Someone made a comment about the recent paving on McBride Street and what a great job they did. My neighbor told me that with that first hard rain we had Friday, the street flooded over the curbs. I didn't know if you were aware of that. So, that's all.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else with public comments? Please come up.
I know I gave him my 4 minutes, but from what I could tell, he only used about 10 minutes, so if somebody wants to give me 4 minutes, I'll take that too.
We need your name, please.
My name is Lori Bruce. I live at 425 Dunham Street. I'm very well acquainted with Clean Tech. I've been on the defensive with them for almost 20 years. I have been in person on the property. I have made phone calls. I have talked. I have a relationship with the EPA in Jackson. I have called the DNR in the middle of the night to call it emergency air quality. My worst year of memory was 2014, that I made several phone calls, documented, worked with Dale Zorn, worked with Kavanaugh Voorhees, I think is her name, out of the EPA. I FOIA'd the state of Michigan for information on Clean Tech. I thought it was quite concerning that one of the requirements for it was to have a demographic in a 3-mile radius around the plant. And I wondered why that was, but I haven't gotten an answer for that yet. I last spoke with you about Clean Tech in 2011 when they were submitted their variance, and I spoke on that back then. And quite a few things that I mentioned then were brought to light that the council didn't know were happening. And since then, I can say any improvements that have happened with Clean Tech are because of me, because I called about the traffic on the street. I've called about having people go a different direction. I think I made that mention at the 2011. I have kind of a relationship with all of them because I call and I say who I am, and I'm across the street and they know me. And I let them know when they stink and they do whatever it is with their air handler to fix that. I let them know when the trucks are parked on the street and they send somebody out from the office to tell them to move their truck to the other side. I sometimes call the police when I get frustrated with it, but I call back to them when they do take care of things and let them know that I appreciate they took care of it. So we have a relationship that's been going on for 20 years. And like the previous speaker said, I haven't received anything for that. I'm not paid by them to be their community, what do you want to call?
Liaison.
Yeah, the community liaison, to tell them when they're stinking, to tell them when they're not stinking, to tell them when they don't have trucks in the road, when they should move their trucks. I don't get paid for that, not a consultant, not an analyst for them. I had my house vibrating for almost a year, and I couldn't get that taken care of till a man in the neighborhood went over and started talking to him about it, and it was remedied within a couple of weeks. But the year the woman tried to explain to him what was going on, they couldn't do anything about it. And the vibration affected my daily activity at my house, everything in the house vibrating. When the trucks go by now, the house vibrates or shakes. I'm surprised my foundation is still alive in my house. But I've had people on the previous council say that they live on Dunham Street too, when in fact they actually lived in Arbor Chase and had no idea what I was talking about, because the smell isn't really to the north of the plant, it's to the south of the plant. So every day I want to go out in my yard and work, and I can't because it smells so bad. I have to go back in the house. I try, because you get immune to it after a while, which I'm sure the people that work there do too, and you don't smell it as much. But when you go back in the house to go to the bathroom and you step back outside, it smells so bad again, because you realize that it's still there and you're getting used to it, which probably isn't a good thing. I can't open the windows in my house because it smells so bad. And I pay taxes and live here, and I can't even open the windows at my own house. And I'm sure my neighbors are that way too. Even with an air conditioner, it can pull it in. Even with central air, it can pull it in. So if you think that it's so wonderful to have them as a neighbor and be in this town, then you're sorely mistaken. You should talk to the people that try to live outside next to that plant. It's ridiculous. And I appreciate now that they're trying to be a good neighbor, but they're only a good neighbor because me and the rest of the neighbors that call over and tell them they need to take care of stuff. It's never on their own that I've seen yet. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, and keep
Thank
up,
you.
keep it up. Is there any more questions? Please come to the front.
Not really a question. I just want to make a comment about Clean Tech itself. I've lived on Dunham Street since 1973, and I really don't see what they have done for the community other than tear up our road from the truck traffic. All the neighbors, we always have to deal with trucks sitting in front of our houses, running constantly. The people that work there, I constantly, almost every week, have to yell at somebody to slow down. And most of the cars that go by, they say they wanted to go back to Ohio. They might as well, because most of the cars that go there are from Ohio. So if they're bringing jobs to the community, I don't like to know where, because most of the cars are from Ohio. And we have a lot of children that play on our street. I've had neighbors that live on both sides of me and across the street. The kids would play in my yard because I didn't want them in the street because of the traffic. But I just don't see what they're doing for us, other than they light up our yards all night long with their floodlights and everything else they got going over there. The constant noise that comes from the building all the time. And we're going to have to pay for roads. I think they should have to pay for the roads, because the traffic that goes to there, not just the truck traffic, the car traffic is more than the residents that live in that area. So, I mean, our road's terrible, and a lot of it has to do with the traffic coming from that building. But that's my comment.
Thank you, Robin Roberts. So could you give your house number, please?
347.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Carol?
I'm Carol Burkhardt, and
Carol, I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be talking about the street traffic and the odors and so forth, it's already been discussed. So it's a different topic, and go ahead.
Can I please explain one thing?
Yes, you may.
Yes.
I live at 368 Van Ness Street. The stench reaches my house.
And you're on Van Ness Street?
Correct.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Howard?
Howard Silly, 350 Roosevelt Street. First of all, I'd like to thank all these people for coming here. They all deserve to be heard, and I'm glad you people are here. I really appreciate that, and I respect it. And I would like to say the Viking Barber Shop, Sherry does a great job. Beautiful job. I've been going there for 35 years. My concern that I have isn't about any of this other stuff, has been talked over plenty, and Dave, you maybe can answer it, is our sewage department, is it big enough to handle all the new stuff that we have coming in, the new jobs and new buildings and everything? I mean, because I am concerned at the cost of these membranes, and I think everybody up here should be concerned about it. And is it something that has been discussed, or do you know if the membranes are lasting as long as they're supposed to? And is there anything in the future that may deal with having to improve or make even bigger our sewer facility?
Howard, as you know, this is supposed to be public comment. If you want to discuss the sewer plant, we'll be happy to do that. Everything's brand new down there, and to answer your question for this time, yes, it is at the correct capacity.
Okay, that was really just a question that I had, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Howard. Is there any other questions tonight? Hearing none and seeing none, we'll go to the next thing, is closed session. There's no closed session, so we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight.